What's up everyone, BusyList here. Welcome to the Sweet Sound Sunday. This is all about creating some nice sounds, interesting sounds and textures and having fun with it, experimenting, learning Ableton and everything all at the same time. So today we will be making winds. Well, like a sound of a wind. Well, so listen to this. Nice sound of a wind, which you can use for either music or like a score or as a soundtrack or as a sound effect, or you might, for example, do all, these relaxing 10 hours videos. You can just sit and hold the button for 10 hours and twist the knobs and adjust the sound of the wind that will be non-repeatable and random, as the wind is random. Okay, so let's jump into the Ableton and let's get going. Okay, so let's start off with some kind of synthesizer, any synthesizers that produce some kind of noise. So I'll go with analog here, let's drop it here. Don't forget to put limiter at the end, we'll have it just for safety of your ears and your gear. Now let's grab some earphones. Now what we want to do is to switch off all the oscillators. We can just keep the noise oscillator on. Let's listen to this. Nice noise, just plain white noise, and we have the frequency, and we already know where are we going, so we don't need a lot. Let's add some resonance. It's a bit quiet, isn't it? So let's make it a little bit louder. So we want to be basically moving this frequency and resonance. So let's change this a little bit. So let's open up really slowly and release it like a long release. And the filter has to be slightly different. Like so, I guess. So it will slowly decrease in the volume and the filter will slowly close itself. So what do we want to do now? We want to create some kind of device that will create like a really random LFO so we can drive the frequency resonance. So we want to grab an LFO. We will not be using this. We obviously can, but let's make a device that you can use in the future. So let's grab an LFO from the modifier. If you're looking for it, it's actually here. If you go to audio effects, modulators, LFO. Let's drag this here, and now we have an LFO. As you see, it's like really sine wave. We want to have a sine wave, but first thing, it cannot be that deep, so it has to be really gentle. And it has to be really slow. Let's go like that, and let's map it to the frequency and see what does that do. Okay, it does the job, but it's a little bit too high, so we need to use an offset. Okay, we also want to get rid of the enveloped velocity, so we need to go this to 0. So doesn't matter how hard we hit the key, it's gonna produce the same loudness of sounds. We can automate that with the utility or anything else that we want. So okay, not too bad, but it's a little too predictable, so you want to make it a bit more random, but we can't make it random here. So what I found, if you add another LFO, and where is it? Another LFO, please. There we go. And if we do the similar stuff, so we go really low and slow, maybe not, yeah, like that, not that deep, and we map this to a rate of that LFO. So what does that do? You see, now we definitely don't want that, so we go with the offset a little bit down so it really touches all the low frequencies. We can see it here, 3 Hertz. Now we go not that deep. So here from 0.01 to how far will it go? To 1 Hertz. It's a bit too much still. So let's go even more gentle with that. Okay, and we go down. We can kind of calibrate it to what we like. Let's listen to this straight away. That was my mistake. I had a decay. This is staying quite low, so I need to keep it up. Okay, now here is quite random, and I kind of like it like that at the moment, but we can make it even more random. So to make it even more random, we put another LFO on top of that, and we will want to have this sine wave changed to be random. It's here, random, and then we definitely want it to be just the tiny modifications and offset really low, and we're gonna have a rate like that will be fine, 0.5 Hertz, and then map it to a rate of the second LFO. Okay, so we see that changes from 0, maybe that's too low, 0.05, and that's gonna go faster and influence this more or less depending on how far away we go. Well, so let's listen to that now. So this is the actual, let's rename it. So the main freak LFO, and let's keep these together, like let's call it random LFO, and let's name this modifying LFO. Doesn't really matter that much. So now we have this final wave move our sound. So we have it's going flat, it has the wobbles, it goes down, it goes up, it changes the rates really randomly. That's what it's all about in the wind when it's actually random. Now we can play with resonance a little bit here. Okay, we can then actually maybe use an LFO, like a really slow one, and click here to the filter section. Let's add an LFO. Okay, not so bad. Maybe a bit too high. It's like a really strong wind, so we might want to then go easy on the level. Actually does sound a little bit also like sea waves, which you can use that as well. I think it's going a little bit too fast. So let's slow this rate down because it goes really high up. Let's slow everything down this rate, and this offset goes down a little bit. Well, this rate was actually okay, but the offset, so this influences this rate to be a little bit slower, then it's gonna make this one a bit slower too in the end. Now, much better now. So we're just basically adjusting to what we like. Then at the end, let's leave them as they are. Let's find a saturator. And we just want an analog one, just an analog clip, but we want to create a little macro to it. So let's group it, Command G or Control G. Let's show the macro knob. Let's hide all of them except for one. We will only need one, and we want to map it to drive and to the output. But we're gonna change these parameters here. And what we want to do is, if we add drive, which want to go from 0 to, let's say, 10, no more than that. And here we want to go from 0 to -10. Yes, that's what I mean. So if you're gonna turn this macro up, it's gonna be 0, but as much of the drive we add, it's gonna take out it from the output, so it's gonna be slightly balanced, not perfectly, but kind of. Let's have a look now. Okay, let's go a little bit harder with that because I don't think it's actually working too much. So let's go to maybe 15 and here -15. Okay, so now okay, adds a little bit of that kind of wobbly, like you blow the wind to the microphone. It gives a little character, but that's fine. I like it like that. And when you release the button, it just dies out slowly. Okay, so what we want to do now, ideally, just to create a little macro. So I guess the sound is pretty much done at the moment. You can use it for like risers or anything you want. Let's group everything together. Let's name the macro first. So drive, basically, but balanced. And then we want to click everything together. And this as well, and let's group it. And then we're gonna want to see some macros here, and then let's map. First, what we want to map? We want to map a little bit of the color. So we have this color here, we can map it here. Then we want to add some resonance here. And then we want to add some overall level. Let's do it here. And also what we want to do is to make sure we have this offset as well. We will rename it, so this will define how high or how low will the frequency go. And then we also want to map the drive. So we have 5 knobs. Okay, that will probably be okay for now. Let's do one more experiment actually. So let's grab some kind of reverb. Let's go with the regular reverb. And let's put it at the end of everything, at the end of a chain. So here, but inside the group. And let's listen to what it does now. Yes, that makes a whole lot of difference. So you want to have a big hole, and if we add the dry wet knob, it's gonna give us like a really spacey feeling. We don't want to cut too much high frequencies. We might want to cut the low frequencies though. Okay, now. So let's continue mapping these things. We're gonna map one more thing, which is gonna be actually 2 more things. Let's go here to, why can we not map this? Oh yeah, I know. Okay, let's go back actually. I know what I did. I placed reverb in the wrong place. Let's map it here and let's put reverb outside this bracket here. So now, when we press map here, we can map dry wet here, and we can also map decay. And let's go with size as well. Size goes here. Of course, you can fine tune all the things here. And what we have here now, let's switch off the map. Let's kind of rename them a little bit. Offset, so we call it like high frequency. Then that's going to be dry wet, so reverb, basically, decay, room size, drive, we have everything named pretty well. So now we can hide everything basically and just leave the macros. That's our instrument rack. Let's call it wind maker. Yeah. Now we can play with just the knobs now. We can play with this. We can play with resonance to add a little bit like blast and stagger. We can take the reverb out. We can take the reverb out. Or we can add loads of reverb. Decay time. We can make it like a really long reverb. We can drive the sound so it's like really blowing high winds. Maybe less reverb this time, or change the room size now. And add some frequencies or go down a little bit. And just overall volume. Here's the wind maker. Nice and easy and sounds really well. And I also had some fun last week with the Chiral by Force. I finally learned how to pronounce it, and you can check the video here. It's a really cool instrument and it's free if you have Ableton Live Suite. And okay, as always, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe if you aren't already, hit the like button, that helps a lot, and see you guys in the next video. Cheers!